Earth, for ages, pulsed with an unknown energy. Glowing stone monuments, carved with geometric precision, emerged from dense forests, defying human comprehension. They were remnants of a civilization that had mastered the forces of nature, leaving behind an unimaginable legacy of technological advancements. Ruins of complex temples, adorned with intricate symbols, seemed to whisper stories of a society that had achieved a level of progress humanity had yet to dream of. The atmosphere held an ancient mystery. The air, thick and charged with a subtle energy, seemed to vibrate with the echoes of a distant past. A group of explorers, driven by an insatiable thirst for knowledge, ventured into the impenetrable jungles, guided by ancient maps and enigmatic symbols. They were individuals propelled by profound curiosity, willing to face the dangers of the journey to unravel the secrets of the lost civilization. Their quest was fueled by the hope of finding answers to the mysteries of existence. The lost civilization had left behind powerful artifacts, sources of energy and knowledge. These artifacts, imbued with an ancient force, seemed to pulse with a life of their own. They were the key to unlocking history, but also represented an imminent danger. The ancient knowledge, at once fascinating and terrifying, could unleash forces humanity was not yet prepared to control. The explorers, despite the admiration, felt a growing fear before the unexplored power they held. Conflict settled in the air, subtle and menacing. The pursuit of ancient knowledge aroused the attention of unknown entities, guardians of the secrets of the lost civilization. These entities, relentless and determined to protect their domain, posed a threat to the explorers' journey. With each step, the explorers drew closer to the truth, but also to danger. The quest for answers brought with it the shadow of a hidden enemy, a mysterious and relentless opponent. The shadow of ignorance hung over the explorers. The vastness of the unknown, the complexity of the symbols, and the magnitude of the lost civilization confronted them with the insignificance of their own existence. The history of the lost civilization, with its mysteries and secrets, presented itself as a journey of discovery, but also of confrontation with themselves. The explorers' journey, at once fascinating and terrifying, placed them before a dilemma: unravel the secrets of the past or succumb to the darkness that surrounded them. The jungle, impenetrable and oppressive, covered the landscape. Giant, twisted trees, draped in moss, formed a verdant labyrinth where sunlight barely penetrated. A river snaked between the trees, carrying the energy of the earth. The atmosphere, heavy with humidity and mystery, enveloped everything, like a veil over the past. The lush vegetation concealed ancient ruins, silent witnesses to a lost civilization. A group of explorers, driven by an insatiable thirst for knowledge, advanced through the jungle. They were individuals from diverse backgrounds, united by a common purpose: to unravel the secrets of the lost civilization. Each possessed unique skills, complementary to each other. A seasoned archaeologist, with years of study of ancient history, led the expedition. A brilliant engineer, capable of deciphering the lost civilization's technological enigmas, was her companion. A shrewd warrior, familiar with the dangers of the jungle, protected the group. And a priestess, with deep knowledge of ancestral practices, guided them through hidden paths. The archaeologist, with his inquisitive mind, sought answers to the questions that had haunted him for years. His motivation was the relentless pursuit of knowledge, the understanding of the history of the lost civilization. He believed the answers were hidden within the ruins, waiting to be discovered. The engineer, in turn, yearned to unravel the lost civilization's technological secrets, eager to understand their advanced energy manipulation techniques. The warrior, with his past marked by battles, sought inner peace through discovery. His motivation was the need to find a purpose beyond violence, finding meaning in his life. The priestess, carrying the weight of an ancestral tradition, sought balance between the material and spiritual worlds. Her motivation was the protection of history and the preservation of ancient knowledge. The relationships between the explorers were complex and tense, reflected in the different motivations of each. Despite their differences, they were united by a common goal, which propelled them to overcome their conflicts and collaborate. The jungle, with its relentless beauty, represented both the journey and the obstacle to be overcome. With each step, the explorers drew closer to the mysteries, but also to danger. A strange glow emanated from a secret chamber, revealing ancient symbols that seemed to vibrate with an unknown energy. The engineer, deciphering the symbols, realized that the civilization possessed knowledge about time, opening a portal to the past. The warrior, however, encountered a deadly trap, forcing them to confront the power of the lost civilization and their own fragility. The archaeologist, driven by his relentless pursuit of answers, led the expedition, determined to unravel the secrets of the lost civilization. His main objective was to catalog all artifacts and decipher the enigmatic symbols, to understand the complete history and the advanced technology that the civilization had developed. The engineer, in turn, aimed to understand the principles behind energy manipulation, with the intention of replicating this knowledge for the future. The warrior, with his combat experience, sought to protect the group and ensure the expedition's safety, knowing that hidden dangers lurked in the depths of the jungle. The initial journey was filled with challenges. The relentless jungle, with its traps and hidden dangers, represented the first obstacle. The dense vegetation and intricate paths made progress difficult, forcing the explorers to unite to overcome adversity. The explorers found abandoned ruins, filled with ingeniously crafted traps. With each step, the jungle seemed to oppose their passage, testing their determination and their ability to cooperate. One subplot developed around the priestess, who sought to maintain balance between the material and spiritual worlds. She worried about the unknown consequences of discovering the secrets of the lost civilization. The priestess believed that ancient knowledge could bring imbalances to the universe, and her mission was to ensure that the explorer's journey did not cause irreparable damage. She felt a deep connection to the earth and the entities that inhabited it, making her a crucial figure in the quest for balance. The archaeologist and the engineer began to develop a relationship of mutual respect and admiration, despite their different personalities. The archaeologist admired the engineer's analytical abilities, while the engineer valued the archaeologist's depth of historical knowledge. Their heated discussions about the lost civilization and its technologies evolved into mutual respect, a constant exchange of ideas and information that helped them advance their mission. The warrior, in turn, engaged in an internal struggle. His past haunted him, and he sought to find a purpose beyond violence. The quest for the knowledge of the lost civilization confronted him with the shadow of his past battles. He felt that history could offer him a way to redeem himself, to find a new meaning for his life. The warrior's subplot, permeated with internal conflicts, intertwined with the expedition's main objective. The expedition found a secret passage, hidden behind a majestic waterfall. The passage led to a dark and mysterious cave, where enigmatic symbols were engraved on the walls. The explorers felt the ancient energy emanating from the cave, an unknown force that drew them inside. The cave entrance marked a turning point in the journey, a challenge that required the union of their skills and the overcoming of their fears. The secret passage represented a new obstacle, a proof that the quest for ancient knowledge was more complex than they imagined. A sudden tremor shook the jungle, echoing through the depths of the forest. The earth trembled, and the giant trees swayed, as if an invisible force was stirring. The waterfall, which had previously flowed serenely, began to bubble and spray, emitting a dense, greenish vapor. The explorers, initially confused, realized that something extraordinary was happening. The archaeologist, with his experience, identified the cause of the tremor, an unknown energy, released from an ancient altar located inside the cave. The energy spread rapidly, disturbing the balance of the jungle and threatening the stability of the region. The engineer, analyzing the nature of the energy, realized that it was being diverted to a parallel dimension, a portal to the past of the lost civilization. The warrior, sensing the change in the atmosphere, felt a growing urgency. The disturbing energy was not just a natural phenomenon, it was an imminent threat, a proof that the lost civilization had left behind more than ruins. The disturbing energy threatened not only the balance of the jungle, but also the timeline itself. The priestess, with her deep connection to the universe, felt a growing apprehension. The release of ancient energy was a violation of cosmic balance, a dangerous interference in the flow of time. She realized that the energy was feeding on ancient knowledge, threatening to consume the history of the lost civilization. The priestess understood that the energy represented a threat that demanded an immediate response. The engineer, studying the energy, discovered that it was being channeled to a specific point within the cave, an ancient and mysterious altar. This altar was the key to understanding what was happening. The growing energy threatened to destabilize the portal to the past, which could have unpredictable consequences. The discovery of the ancient altar brought a new urgency to the mission, forcing the explorers to act quickly. The discovery of the energy disturbing the balance of the jungle, diverting to a parallel dimension, and feeding on ancient knowledge, created a conflict. The archaeologist, engineer, warrior, and priestess found themselves compelled to confront the energy, protect the balance, and prevent the history of the lost civilization from being erased. The altar, the energy, and the portal to the past became the main focus of the mission, requiring them to act quickly to avoid irreversible consequences. The inciting incident of the story had begun. The release of ancient energy and its diversion to the past portal made the explorers' mission more crucial than ever. Time became an enemy, and the urgency of the situation forced the explorers to unite and make an immediate decision. The history of the lost civilization was at risk, and the explorers were the only ones who could save it. The release of ancient energy caused a series of unpredictable consequences. The jungle, which had once been a verdant labyrinth, became a scene of chaos. Trees began to change color, emitting a strange glow, and strange, beast-like animals emerged from the depths of the forest. The energy distorted reality, creating illusions and threatening the sanity of the explorers. The energy diverted to the past portal began to affect the present, creating temporal distortions. Fragments of images and sounds from the past invaded the explorers' consciousness, confusing them and disturbing their memories. The archaeologist, with his analytical mind, struggled to distinguish the real from the unreal, while the engineer tried to control the energy to stabilize the portal. A new character emerged, a silent guardian, observing the expedition from afar. This individual, with an enigmatic aura, possessed deep knowledge of the lost civilization and seemed to have a special connection to the altar. Their mysterious presence added a new layer of complexity to the mission, and the explorers found themselves confronted with a new challenge. The priestess, feeling the fragility of cosmic balance, sought a way to restore harmony. She performed ancient rituals, trying to contain the energy and direct it towards a safer path. However, the rituals proved ineffective against the growing force of the diverted energy, and the explorers felt the pressure of the situation intensify. The warrior, confronted with the growing violence of the jungle, found himself forced to confront his inner demons. His search for inner peace became more challenging as the dangers of the jungle and the temporal distortions multiplied. He realized that the only way to protect the group was to confront his own fears. New subplots emerged, revealing hidden secrets of the lost civilization. The explorers discovered a system of underground tunnels, filled with enigmas and traps, that led to different eras of the civilization. Each tunnel represented a stage in the history of the lost civilization, and each contained clues about the society's fate. The discovery of the tunnels created a new challenge, a labyrinth of time and space. The jungle became a constant danger zone, forcing the explorers to adapt to new conditions and face unexpected enemies. The mutated animals and illusions created by the diverted energy represented a physical and mental threat. The explorers found themselves compelled to overcome new obstacles and confront the forces of nature and the complexities of time. The pressure on the explorers increased with each new discovery. The diverted energy intensified the conflicts, creating palpable tension among the explorers. The silent guardian, with their enigmatic presence, began to interact with the group, offering clues and traps that tested the group's ability to cooperate and unity. The internal conflicts of each member intensified, putting their relationships to the test. The priestess's subplot deepened, revealing an ancient prophecy about cosmic balance and the fate of the lost civilization. The prophecy pointed to a crucial choice, allowing the energy to continue its flow or interrupting it, which could cause unpredictable consequences. The priestess found herself torn between her mission to maintain balance and the need to protect humanity. The warrior, on his inner journey, discovered that his past was intrinsically linked to the lost civilization. Fragments of memories and visions of the past haunted him, revealing secrets about his family and his own connection to the lost civilization. He realized that his personal mission was intertwined with the expedition's fate. The engineer, while trying to stabilize the portal, found herself in a dilemma, controlling the diverted energy or allowing it to complete its flow into the past. The decision confronted her with the possibility of changing history, altering the course of time and the fate of humanity. The engineer found herself in an internal battle, torn between preserving history and the possibility of creating a different future. The silent guardian, in his interactions, revealed that the lost civilization had committed a catastrophic error, which was being amplified by the diverted energy. The error was linked to time manipulation, and the guardian suggested that the only way to correct the error was by interrupting the energy flow. This revelation brought a new layer of complexity to the conflict, placing the explorers in an even more challenging position. The underground tunnels became more dangerous and complex, with each passage containing traps and enigmas that tested the explorers' limits. Clues about the lost civilization became more obscure, and the explorers found themselves forced to confront moral dilemmas and make difficult choices. The discovery of each passage was a new challenge, a new enigma to be solved. The jungle, increasingly hostile, reflected the growing tension among the explorers. The diverted energy intensified illusions and dangers, and the explorers were forced to rely on each other for survival. Unity and cooperation became essential to overcome the challenges, but the pressure and differences among the characters increased. The journey became increasingly perilous. The diverted energy reached its peak, creating an intense temporal distortion. The jungle seemed to vibrate with an increasing frequency, and the explorers found themselves in a labyrinth of illusions and alternate realities. The silent guardian, now more present, revealed the true nature of the lost civilization's error, the unbridled pursuit of power without considering the consequences. The archaeologist, confronted with the truth about the past, realized that the history of the lost civilization was more complex than he imagined. The pursuit of knowledge, which initially motivated him, now transformed into a quest for redemption, for the possibility of correcting the errors of the past. The discovery of an ancient secret made him question his own values and his role in the journey. The engineer, confronting the possibility of altering the course of time, realized that the responsibility of controlling the energy was greater than she imagined. The pressure of the situation made her question her own capabilities and the importance of her choices. She realized that preserving history was not just about knowledge, but also about the responsibility of not interfering in the natural course of events. The warrior, amidst the temporal distortions, found a glimpse of his past, revealing an ancestor who had played a crucial role in the lost civilization. The discovery forced him to confront his own shadows and take responsibility for his heritage. Understanding the past strengthened him and made him more determined to protect the present. The priestess, in her increasingly intense rituals, became the central figure in the attempt to balance the opposing forces. She realized that the only way to restore balance was to understand the essence of the lost civilization's error. The priestess transformed into a figure of wisdom and resilience, guiding the explorers through the storm. The underground tunnels became more complex, and each passage represented a moral dilemma. The explorers were forced to choose between different paths, each with distinct consequences. The wrong choice could lead to the destruction of the lost civilization, and the right choice could restore balance. A portal opened in the center of the cavern, emanating an intense and dangerous light. The portal was the key to the past, but also the path to the end. The portal represented the final turning point, the crucial decision that would determine the fate of the lost civilization and the future of the expedition. The tension was palpable, and the critical moment was near. The distorted energy of the jungle reached its peak, creating an unstable and unpredictable environment. The explorers, increasingly closer to the portal, felt the pressure of the situation. Minor confrontations with mutant creatures, fruits of the unbalanced energy, became more frequent, forcing the team to act together to survive. Cooperation, previously essential, was now vital for survival. The Silent Guardian, with his enigmatic presence, intensified his interactions, revealing more secrets of the lost civilization. Clues and challenges arose at every turn, demanding that the explorers utilize their unique abilities to advance. The engineer, for example, used her technological knowledge to create barriers against the mutant creatures, while the archaeologist deciphered the enigmas left by the civilization. One of the explorers, previously allied with the group, showed signs of distrust and interest in obtaining the ancient knowledge for himself. The suspicion generated growing tension among the explorers, testing the loyalty and unity of the group. The alliance that held them together was being tested. The priestess, in her rituals, found an ancient artifact, an amulet that contained the essence of cosmic balance. The amulet vibrated with a subtle energy, promising the possibility of restoring the balance of the jungle and the natural course of time. The priestess, determined, used the amulet to try to restore order. The warrior, on his inner journey, found a way to control his emotions and deal with the ghosts of the past. He realized that the knowledge of the lost civilization was not just about technology, but also about the importance of introspection and acceptance. The warrior's inner journey strengthened him, making him a pillar for the group. In the underground tunnels, the explorers found new chambers and enigmas, each containing a small piece of the puzzle of the lost civilization. The enigmas were more complex, requiring the collaboration of all team members. The union of efforts was the key to solving the mysteries. The atmosphere became oppressive, charged with growing energy. The jungle, now a stage for conflicts and challenges, reflected the tension among the explorers. The air vibrated with energy, and the explorers knew that the climax was near. Each step was a risk, each decision, a choice that could determine everyone's fate. The decisive moment was approaching. The tension among the explorers reached its peak. The distrust of the newly designated member turned into concrete acts, jeopardizing the mission. The group needed to unite to face the internal threat, in addition to the external dangers. The jungle, now more hostile than ever, covered the path with traps and obstacles. The underground tunnels proved more complex than they imagined, with each passage demanding sacrifices and difficult decisions. The quest for balance between preserving history and protecting humanity became even more crucial. The explorers needed to reconcile their individual goals with the collective well-being. The Silent Guardian, in his final intervention, revealed that the lost civilization had left a complex legacy, where the pursuit of knowledge was intrinsically linked to responsibility. The civilization had not disappeared by chance, its fall was related to an error that needed to be corrected. The priestess, with the amulet in hand, felt a growing force, but also a weight on her shoulders. The amulet, the key to restoring balance, demanded a personal sacrifice. The priestess realized that the cure for the temporal distortion was not just about knowledge, but about forgiveness and understanding. The warrior, amidst the growing confusion, found himself forced to confront his own past. He understood that true strength did not lie in violence, but in the ability to control his emotions and accept his destiny. The warrior's inner journey led him to profound introspection, strengthening him for the final confrontation. The engineer, confronted with the possibility of altering the course of time, found herself forced to make a difficult choice. The decision required deep reflection on the consequences of her actions. The engineer needed to choose between preserving history and creating a different future. The jungle, now a scene of internal and external conflict, prepared the explorers for the final confrontation. The forces of nature and the illusions created by the distorted energy increased in intensity. The convergence of all the narrative threads pointed to the portal, the culmination of the journey, where the explorers would have to face the truth about the lost civilization and the weight of their choices. The portal opened, casting an intense and menacing glow on the explorers. The distorted energy reached its maximum point, and the jungle seemed to dissolve into a whirlwind of colors and shapes. The explorers found themselves facing a crucial choice: to intervene in the flow of time or allow the lost civilization to disappear forever. The internal conflict among the explorers reached its peak. The formerly allied member, driven by greed, tried to take the priestess's amulet, but was confronted by the other explorers. Loyalty and unity were tested, but prevailed, leading to a decisive confrontation. The engineer, with the warrior's help, managed to stabilize the portal, but the diverted energy threatened to consume the balance. The priestess, in an act of sacrifice, used the amulet to channel the energy, restoring balance and closing the portal. The archaeologist, understanding the error of the lost civilization, understood that knowledge was not enough. Wisdom and responsibility were essential to avoid the same fate. He realized that history was not just about the past, but about learning from it. The silent guardian, seeing the resolution of the conflict, disappeared, leaving behind only an echo of the lost civilization. The legacy of the civilization, despite the fall, remained alive in the memories and actions of the explorers. The jungle gradually returned to its natural state. The mutant creatures disappeared, and the temporal distortion ceased. The explorers, exhausted but victorious, returned to their time, carrying the weight of history in their hearts. The history of the lost civilization served as a reminder: knowledge and power must be used wisely and responsibly. Preserving history is not just about preserving the past, but about learning from it to build a better future. Share this lesson with the world. The explorers, returning to their time, carried with them not only knowledge, but also the lessons learned. The jungle, restored to its original beauty, witnessed the journey, a cycle that closed. The lost civilization, though distant, left an indelible mark on their lives. The priestess, having restored balance, found inner peace. She understood that balance was not just external, but also internal, a balance between knowledge and responsibility. Her path was directed towards preserving history, seeking a more conscious future. The warrior, after confronting his demons, found a purpose beyond violence. The inner journey transformed him, and he dedicated himself to spreading the message of introspection and acceptance. He became a defender of peace, an example of transformation. The engineer, realizing the consequences of her actions, dedicated herself to research to use the ancient knowledge responsibly. She became an advocate for the ethical use of technology, a beacon for humanity. The archaeologist, now with a broader view of history, dedicated himself to preserving the legacy of the lost civilization. His mission became to educate future generations about the importance of responsibility, knowledge, and preserving history. The explorers, together, realized the interconnectedness of their experiences. The pursuit of knowledge, responsibility, and unity were the pillars of the journey. Past, present, and future united in a continuous cycle. The story of the lost civilization echoed through time, a warning and an example. The relentless pursuit of knowledge must be accompanied by responsibility and wisdom. The journey continues, and history repeats itself. Humanity must learn from the mistakes of the past to build a better future. Share this message with the world.